Before Prashant gives an introduction, I know the two stars are there on all of our screen. Just to introduce who would be there, this side is one we have a fast bowler Prashant, opening batsman Sri, and myself, off spinner. Over to you, Prashant.
That was quite long times back. Later, I turned myself to be an off spinner only because I could not run faster anymore. Okay, guys, welcome back to the GJ Connect. I'm happy so many of you are here together. And of late, it is looking like a video conferencing call, looks like one big office. And what a way to connect back. So, in fact, talking about today's event though, see, we are a population of 130 crores, and cricket is a blood group for us. No exception in Guru Anjana too, that we are ardent fans of cricket. So today we have with us the celebrities from the awesome game of cricket. So here is to the left of my screen and below Sri Lakshmi, I don't know where he figures. This is Vijay Bharadwaj for you. And there is Andrew Leipus. To introduce them is just a formality as they are well known across the 7 seas. So just to be formal in this and to start off with a go, and I request Janki to play their loving videos to ignite today's session. Janki, all over to you. Can we please look at the videos for introduction?
ಮಂಗಳಮಯವಾಯಿತು ಧರೆ ಜನಗಳು ಜೀವನ ಚೇತನ ಮರೆದು ರಂಗ ಧ್ಯಾನ ಪರರಾದರು ರಂಗ ಕೊಳ್ಳಲನೋದಲಾಗೆ ರಂಗಯ್ಯ ಕೊಳ್ಳಲನೋದಲು ರಂಗ ಕೊಳ್ಳಲನೋದಲಾಗೆ ರಂಗಯ್ಯ ಕೊಳ್ಳಲನೋದಲು ಮಂಗಳಮಯವಾಯಿತು ಧರೆ ಜನಗಳು ಜೀವನ ಚೇತನ ಮರೆದು ರಂಗ ಧ್ಯಾನ ಪರರಾದರು ರಂಗ ಕೊಳ್ಳಲನೋದಲಾಗಿ ರಂಗಯ್ಯ ಕೊಳ್ಳಲನೋದಲು.
Oh, that's awesome. So nice. Oh, it's something like going behind the leaves of the life. Oh my God, so many memories, Vijay, and all of us are really fortunate. A dedicated, a smart cricketer like you was in India, and what moments there to see. I mean, all the while, it's been a great time all around. Welcome to today's show, and of course, we thought it right timely to play the best song that you always like. So I thought that was the that is Vijay Bharadwaj for all of you. The entire collection of the photos speaks about loads about him.
I think someone stolen Vijay. My Google Drive.
We will get an audit of that very shortly. Don't worry, you're in safe hands. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the intro.
Thanks. Now it is time to welcome our dear Andrew to the session for the day. Janki, over to you. Can we please share this video?
कुछ करिए बस बस बड़ा बोले अब कुछ करिए ओ कोई तो चल सिद्ध फड़िए तू बेतरिए या मरिए हाय कोई तो चल सिद्ध फड़िए तू बेतरिए या मरिए चक दे भटक दे इंडिया चक दे भटक दे इंडिया.
I was getting ankle pain like 20 minutes ago, and you know, he come and he pulled my ankle. He did that a few times, and then I go and do the same thing that I was getting pain from 5 minutes ago. No pain. He's a magician. He's talented. He's blessed.
Nothing up my sleeves.
No, it's actually, there's a bit of methodology there. You know, you have to look at the history, clinical history, ask him a lot of questions about what happened, when did he start feeling the pain, all those sort of things. And sort of from that, you can get a bit of a picture in your head of what's happened, what's occurred, what structures might be at fault, and then you do a bit of a look at the movements and test a few other structures, ligaments, and so forth, and we can work out from there what we need to do. So, you know, in his case, you know, he bowls, he bats.
Wow, that's Andrew for all of us. Welcome, Andrew. Welcome. In fact, I have a nagging shoulder somewhere at the back. After the show, we will. I'll connect you back. So I'll dial you on the move. So, guys, talking about Andrew, he's an amazing professional. So, in fact, if you look at the way we people used to play cricket, or in the times of, say, Vijay and prior to those people, whenever we start the cricket, in fact, Vijay, what we can first understand is we'll take the mats, put the mats, hit the nets, and then keep going around the field, do the exercises, come back, do some stretches, start the cricket practice or the game, whatever it is. This was the case all along till 1999, right? And then there is one gem of a professional who enters cricket studios, and that is Andrew Leipus for you, and who brought in the culture of gym for the players in India. And in fact, we can see a lot of the way the training that went into a huge transformation post that is for us to see, and that kind of foundation that he laid during those days. Today we can see huge number of cricketers who are, you know, so much fitness freaks, and all the while we'll keep following them on TikToks and Facebooks. So thanks, Andrew, for joining us. And over to Shri and the opening batsman, of course, the batsman on the other side to start the scores. And but of course, in this case, they have become the bowlers, and the batsmen are Vijay and Andrew. Over to all of you. Enjoy the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Prashant. Probably it's a beautiful moment for all of us to see the star who is on the field and off the field also. Thank you so much. Over to Sri.
Once again, a warm welcome to Vijay, Bharadwaj and Andrew. So we had a lot of fun before we went on live. It spoke volumes about how awesome you both are and such a great sense of humor. Thank you so much for being with us. My first question will be to Vijay Bharadwaj. A little known trivia about Vijay Bharadwaj is that he's an excellent academic background person. So he is a great numbers fan. He scored centum in his first PUC and he stopped his college despite having only like 7 days attendance, I'm told. And in second PUC also, he's been a distinction holder. So off the field, on the field, like academics and being a sports person, he's a great person to have as a role model. And we as a chartered accountancy fraternity, we balance a lot and we try and juggle between our tuitions, between our office, then college. So the young crowd who are watching you today between 19 to 24, who write the All India level exam, face a lot of pressure. So what I want is from Mr. Vijay Bharadwaj, his words of wisdom on what it requires to excel.
Thanks, Lakshmi. Looking at my hairstyle, you're talking to me about wisdom. Yeah, that's one part. But first of all, I should be thanking everybody to have tuned in. And I'm so lucky to have Andrew Leipus. You know what? Andrew Leipus is one of the most professional guys. He was the first probably trainer come physio to the Indian team. And the other fact is, he's the nicest human being you ever come across. So that's what Andrew Leipus that you missed out in the video. So I'm just remembering all those things. It's a nice thing to get the memories back. To get back to your question, I think whatever job you take, whatever career you take, and these words are so difficult to digest, like discipline, hard work. But at the end of the day, if you don't have fun, you cannot achieve anything. It's just a case of a boy meeting a girlfriend for the first date. and then how excited he will be, and every other thing, and all the focus will be on him or her. So you forget about it, everything else. It's the same with our game also. The moment you fall in love with this game, what happens is all your energy gets focused and you have unlimited energy. The same thing with studies. While you're studying, you study. While you're playing, you play over and out. So you don't complicate things. But the thing is, how do you control your mind? That's the best thing. So people will call us bozos. You know what I mean by bozos? Who give gyan. That's not the case actually. In fact, people are fed up of bozos who give gyan. But in our case, it's a totally different thing, because sport is one thing which can probably get all of them together. Do you see any of the roads empty only during probably India-Pakistan game or a World Cup game where India is playing? Or one of the other occasions is the elections. Other than that, you cannot get an event which can make such a scenario, which can create such a scenario. So imagine, sport has so much to teach us. At the same time, a lot of things can be learned. Maybe professionals from other professions also can learn a lot from our sport. It's one thing which can take the passion. You can go to another level where you have unlimited energy, I said. And when people talk about hard work, dedication, I can still relate to one of the best coaches in the world, Bob Woomer. He has written in his book, Art and Science of Cricket. He says that, how many of you have done hard work? And in one of the seminars, everybody lifts their hand saying that I have done this, I have done that, I've played so many cricket, I have so much of cricket, I've trained so hard. He says that's all bullshit, man. You know, people who work in mines of South Africa, Andrew Leipus knows better. I think they don't know whether they're going to come back or not. They work day in, day out with the kind of risk for life. They are out of their families for so much of time, and they dedicate their life for nothing, the peanuts. Yeah, that's hard work. People who put asphalt on the roads of Dubai, Abu Dhabi, in a 45, 50 degrees Celsius, that's hard work. And what they get paid is peanuts. Whereas look at our scenarios, whether you're a CA or a doctor or a cricketer leads a luxurious life. And he gets everything. And look, people come and say, I've done hard work. Cricketers don't do hard work. I know it's difficult, it's their passion. So when you do hard work, no, you don't get tired. So when you don't get tired, you can do wonderful things. And imagine which profession has given you so much glory, so much money, so much appreciation, fame, name, and everything within a short span of time, and people will remember you forever. The same thing applies for other professions also. We think that we are doing hard work, but is that enough? We need to question ourselves, stand in front of the mirror and say, is that enough? So don't compete with your own people. Just compete with your own self. Look at the mirror and say, am I better today? Am I scaling new heights? So whether someone's doing right or wrong, next to you doesn't matter to you. At the end of the day, what matters is what you are doing. Where's your standard? Can you match up to it? If you give examples of Rahul Dravid or Tendulkar, they never looked up on someone else. They set their own standards. When they started off their career, I don't think Anil, probably Kumble Jamba, as you know, he never thought of picking up 600, 700 test wickets. He just started off. And the way he improved and the work ethic they put on, it's quite amazing. So a lot of things can be learned from these cricketers, which I have seen firsthand. So I feel it's the unlimited love to do something which can take you to heights.
So beautifully answered. Thank you, Vijay Bharadwaj sir. So Anand, you over to you.
Okay, this is to Andrew. See, we have seen the transition pre-1999 where we used to see the stretching being done on the cricket field, and they're rolling the mat and doing all those pre-matches exercises all that. Of course, you brought in the gym culture to the entire Indian cricket, and today we are all blessed to see a lot of cricketers being the fitness freak and ensuring the fitness is at the peak. In this background, we all know we need to do workout. We need to do exercise on a daily basis, all that. Hit the gym, all that. But somehow we don't enjoy it. Now, how do we motivate ourselves on every day to ensure that we follow this?
That's a very good question. And it's very, very individual. some of us get our motivation extrinsically. So watching something very motivating like a Rocky film, Eye of the Tiger. So you get sort of fired up, you get the adrenaline pumping, and that kind of motivates us. But that's very, very short-lived, and that's why people drop off. New Year's Eve, sudden, resolutions for the following year. I'm going to go join a gym, and then you sudden spike in gym memberships, and then after January, February, they just drop off. That's how gyms survive. So a lot of it's extrinsic motivation, but the real changes in behavior come from intrinsic motivation, making things very, very personal to you. So, set yourself goals and make them realistic goals. We need to measure change. If you can't measure it, it's just, you're going to drop off. It's very vague. So make things a bit more objective. So measure, have goals. It might be a weight loss goal. It might be running a marathon goal. Make them known and publicize them as well. Make them public. On a day-to-day basis, I like to get people to pack your gym bag the night before. You think, okay, when the alarm goes off, I'm going to get up and go to the gym before work. The alarm goes off, you still have to pack your bag. There's too many things, too many variables at play there. Get yourself ready the night before, or have it in the boot of your car, whatever. So there's no excuses from that perspective. Make an appointment with yourself. I think that you have to make time for yourself. You make appointments for your clients. You have to there's 24 hours in a day. You just need 45 minutes to yourself, but stick to it and block out everything else. It's a non-negotiable. And that's a very, very important thing. Diet is important. You need to eat. If you're feeling fatigued because you've skipped lunch, you're not going to have the energy to go and want to go to the gym. So that's another big factor. Work out with a friend. There's nothing more motivating than thinking, I'm going to let my friend down. So make an appointment with a friend and keep that commitment. There are a lot of tricky ways to go about that. Most importantly, I think, do what you like to do. Health and fitness is about movement. That's the name of my practice, Move. That's why I named my practice Move. It's because it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you're moving. Movement is medicine. Exercise is medicine. So do what you love to do, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's playing cricket, whether it's kicking the football around. It doesn't really matter. As long as you enjoy it, you'll stick to, you'll create adherence. And one sort of a bit more personal, but also very public, is take a photo of yourself in your underwear and put it on the fridge. So every time you go to open the fridge, you see the real thing. And if that's not motivating, then I don't know what else is.
That was lovely insights. In fact, this should definitely motivate all of us to get back to the exercise mode. Thank you, Andrew.
So my next question is for Vijay Bharadwaj. I know he comes from a non-cricketing background family. He is probably the first generation entrepreneur or a first generation cricketer, the only person in his family, if I'm not wrong. And he's done several roles, be it a commentator, a cricketer, a coach, a selector, several things he's done. And I have always found him to be quite spiritual. One sees him only, that he's a person of great faith. So according to him, what is the role of faith in a sports person's life? Does it play a role, or it is just the hard work?
It's a very philosophical question. You're asking to a philosophical guy. So there is a sloka which says, Guru Bhumshvacha karma nijam niyatam haripada vinam ratiya satatam harireva paro harireva gro harireva jagat pitramatrigati. So the entire Bhagavad Gita is done in one sloka. It says, you need to do your things, which is true to yourself, every day without a miss. Like Andrew was saying, that was done ages back. Ages back this was written. Do your job, which is true to yourself, every day without miss, and which you enjoy the most, and leave rest to the God. Harireva paro, harireva guru, harireva jagat pidru matrigati. Even Sachin, if you go and ask him, he says, 70% is all luck. And 10% what he says is hard work, 10% is his wisdom, 10% is his discipline, and the rest is all control. So we are all not independent individuals. There is some force which is controlling us. So I believe, it's just one ball game for a batsman. If I were to get out in that one ball in the wrong time, and if the selector is watching you, and if you're not picked, even if you're talented, sometimes it goes for a toss. But at the same time, the more number of sessions you hit, the more luckier you become. So there will be a session where you will think that the more you work, the luckier you get. Obviously, your brain will process some sort of a thought where you say that you're good enough to play there. You just keep pursuing, never ever give up. There's a lot who's watching you above. So don't think that you have done everything on your own. There is something which is handling you. And if you think on those lines, no, you will never ever get under stress. You will never under the pressure. So you just go there, do your job over and out. Never expect your results. That's what Krishna says also. So in cricket, that's very, very important. Even in life also, sometimes we get attached to the result. We keep cribbing, saying, I didn't get this, I didn't get that. And we see, at the end of the day, you get what you deserve, not what you desire. So that's the mantra here. So instead of being so spiritual and then philosophical, I can see to it that it's practically there for us to feel every day as a sportsman. There are so much of ups and downs in our career. Failure, you need to embrace your failure. You cannot run away from failure. So you just have to go there, take it head on. So once you do that, you cannot avoid failure. Once you do that, you'll become much more stronger. You fail 100 times, no problem. But the way you get up is so important. For that, you need some strength. You need to depend on someone else to show you some strength. That's exactly what I'm saying. So there will be times, ups and downs. As I said, you'll be sometimes, okay, you say you're going into a depression, or probably you see so many people say, I have failed here, nothing has happened according to me, I'm getting into depression. Boss, I'm telling you, the people who are worse than you. So just go get up and do your work. You cannot be a reasonable man. Once you're a reasonable man, you're gone. You should be unreasonable. You're supposed to do this kind of a work, you're supposed to do it over. So there are no reasons. You cannot give reasons. Once you start doing these and you have some sort of a discipline in doing that, no, obviously things will fall into place. So I cannot be giving you, it's up to you, the individual, to have some faith. Without faith, nothing works. The first thought which comes to your mind, no, it should come to your mind that I should play for the country. The first thought should play in your mind that I should play for the state. If that doesn't come, where are you heading towards? So there is also some effort from your side, and entirely you don't depend on luck, but there is a thing which will control you also. There is a mixture of both. You cannot say that I have done everything. So just go there, do your job, forget whatever is happening. You cannot get attached to the results. Otherwise, you know what will happen? The moment you get out, your spiral goes down. Your graph goes down. The moment you score 100, your spiral goes up. You should have the graph which is so even. For that, you need to have some sort of a mental stability. Emotionally, you need to be controlled. Mentally, you need to be controlled. For that, you need some help. So, as Indians, probably coming from a background which is very philosophical, I feel that has given me, or that has kept me in good stead. Otherwise, the kind of failures I've faced, people would have gone mad. From being a superstar to nothing in 1 year, and then going with a career which has gone for a toss, which I never recovered. And probably I have to blame myself for that. So all the situations, no, these kind of philosophical thoughts has given me some solace. So I don't get perturbed now. I'm so strong as a human being. I'm so strong as an individual. I'm not even worried about the failures anymore. I can take anybody, anytime, head on.
That was such a beautiful answer, and CA today has seen a lot of failures than success. So I think it should motivate a lot of us to be on the right path and believe in the Supreme. And it was so good to hear you say that prayer.
Thanks. What's next?
This is to you, Andrew. You have worked with the best cricketers in the world. It could be Tendulkar, Dravid, Lakshman, Ganguly, and all of them are the world best cricketers. And we always cherish the immense contribution you have given to the fitness in the sports and the seed what you have sown when you entered in 1999. Can you share a couple of instances with all of these people which has changed your perspective of life?
Yeah, I think you're showing my age now. Those guys were a different generation of cricketers, and I was actually very, very, very privileged to have had the opportunity to work with all cricketers from that era. I just think it was a very special time in Indian cricket, and there's lots of examples that I can think of. But you mentioned one particular player was Anil Kumble, one of your sort of state residents there. The day in Antigua where he broke his jaw, I think comes to mind. And I guess it comes to mind a lot because everyone sort of replays it as a very special moment in one of those events in world cricket that stands out, where a player who puts his health and well-being ahead of anything else, puts the team before his health and well-being. Now, every player, when they go out there, when they cross that road, puts their bodies on the line. You know, you don't get injured if you don't play sports. So there's always a risk of hurting yourself. But to sustain such significant an injury as such that Anil had, and to come back and actually to tell everyone, I am playing, get me out there again. No matter what you do, just get me out there again. I need to play. I need to finish this. And the determination that he showed was second to none. So I'm still in awe of the man and the situation where he put his health second to the success of the team that he was working in. Not that I advocate that all the time. There are times where I have to literally say to him, listen, this is a serious injury. You cannot do this. This can affect the rest of your career. But we informed him of all the possible repercussions of him going back out on the field. And he weighed it up himself, and what's the worst that can happen? The fracture can slip a little bit. He still had to go surgery anyway. So he weighed it all up and made the decision that he was going to go out and do what he could to help the team succeed. So that for me is a standout moment in my sort of limited career with the Indian cricket team, and I think it reflects just the character of the man. On a lighter note, Mr. Tendulkar once hit me up. I remember we were in Delhi. I was treating his knee during one of the breaks, and I was just mobilising his knee. He had a bit of stiffness in his knee, and he just sort of looked at me, and he with a smile on his face, he said, "You know that knee's worth a few $1 million, don't you?" And up until that point, it had never really clicked to me that just how massive my role was and how important my role was in keeping these guys on the park. And it wasn't just about his knee pain. It was about if Sachin doesn't play, people don't come to the stadium. If Sachin doesn't play, the sponsors don't put their money in. If he doesn't play, then TVs don't want to pay their TV rights, because nobody wants to watch the Indian team without Sachin Tendulkar playing. So, he just put a huge load on my shoulders then, to say that, look, just do your job properly. and I don't know whether it was good or bad, because up until that point I was quite naive, and I was just doing my work and not really thinking too much about the implications or the repercussions of the outcomes of my management. But it just sort of put things into perspective for me that, what we do has a wider ranging field of potential snowball effect if we don't do it properly. So that was just a time where it just brought me back down to earth, and this was early on in my career there. So I think it created a nice foundation. He did it with a smile. He was joking, but it sort of just hit home. Okay, this is serious. This business here. So there are two events. A third one I think was the day in Eden Gardens. I think everyone sort of remembers that day where Lakshman and Dravid helped us win that test by following on. And the commitment that those guys showed to their health and wellness throughout the course of the test match was second to none, in terms of the ice baths in the breaks, the nutrition, their sleep, their treatment, and that's off the field. And on top of that, they have got to go back on the field and concentrate for 7 hours a day or whatever it is. So there are a few moments that I can recall which stand out for me that sort of really changed my, just made me feel, really, really proud to be working with these guys. Thanks.
For the first time, Andrew was under pressure. when Sachin spoke about money. Until then, he was not under pressure. He was enjoying his work. The moment he says that he is worth millions, he came under pressure.
The trouble is, he didn't give me any of those millions.
Yeah, nice one, nice one.
That was so nice because these are the insights we never know in the outside world. That was nice, and you shared beautiful moments.
Incidentally, the movie on Sachin said a billion smiles. So already a million and a billion everything. Vijay sir, I want to understand you. I have always found you to be vocal, yet grounded and down to earth. I don't think you mince words. What do you think? You just said it out. You're not someone who believes in being very diplomatic. If that's my little understanding about you. But as a role model and a public figure, how important is it for the celebrities to voice out their concerns or give a perspective to their followers?
It's a difficult question to answer. These are the days of WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook. Everybody is on social media. The way you speak and the way you convey can always be misinterpreted. So it's very difficult. Everybody is a coach. Everybody is a selector in India nowadays, and everybody can beat Modi and become prime ministers. So that's so difficult to answer. So if you speak out your mind, you're branded as probably someone who is a loose cannon who can speak anything. But you need to weigh your words and then see where you're speaking and what's the platform that you're taking to. So it's a very difficult and at the same time a very judgmental question. And I'm sure that you need to think about it twice. And if the cause is really good and it does a whole lot of a good thing to society, I think you need to open up. You cannot just be hiding around. Now, I know the way you bat and bowl will go to show your character. So I'm sure there are people who are who have done well in their lives, but they don't want to do anything back to the society. So I'll make a very bold statement here, a very, very damaging statement. People who think that they've played cricket and they want to become coaches and selectors and say that I've given back to the game by becoming a coach and selector. Do you think that's right?
Yeah.
It's a thing to worry about. You know what? This is what's been happening. So I'm very vocal about it. I'm just giving an example. And I say that's not giving back to the game at all. I'll give you an example of Cheteshwar Pujara, of all the people. That's a very damaging statement I'm making. I'm a very bold statement here. He has done wonders to his state cricket. He's done an academy in his own money. He's paid from his own pocket. He's bought a land. Then he gives scholarship to all the cricketers. I can't reconcile anyone else giving back. I mean, that's what is giving back to the game. Not by becoming a commentator. I'm just doing a commentary stint. I know with the Star Sport, but see, that's a subject which is very debatable. You know, the image of some of the players or probably any celebrities will be out in the public something else, and they're doing something else. But there are people who have done a lot of things to the society, and as such, for the game itself, I'm saying, just giving the example of the people who have done a lot to the game. So there are people who are not even recognized. So you need to understand which is the platform that you're speaking and why you're speaking. If something needs to be done for the society, just go ahead, stand up and speak. No matter who speaks what, no matter who tell you what, don't even bother about that. As long as you're making a difference to the society, just stand up. As long as you're making a difference to your family, just stand up. The last thing which will come to your mind should be that it's going to make a difference to your personal self. Keep the society in mind. That's the best part.
Thank you. So beautifully told. And definitely, I for one thought being a commentator or a coach is giving back to the game, but truly I understand what it means to give back.
See, we all know in the sports it has got both winning and losing. So it's both sides of the coin. And when a case when a team loses, and when they come back to you and approach you, what exactly is it? Because we all have heard that you're a very positive personality, and your always statement is that everything will be fine, they'll recover. What exactly, how do you handle those stages?
First of all, I think I have to hide my emotions. I also get very upset when the team loses. You know, we put a lot of hard work in behind the scenes to prepare players to perform, and we don't like to see people fail. Vijay's sort of summed up a lot of about failure being, you know, part of life, and moving on and learning from those experiences, and we do the same. Obviously, players coming off the field, everyone's sort of down. There's not a lot of banter going around, very compared to when you win. I think that as a support staff member, it's important to understand that I am a point of contact for people to open up about their feelings. You know, the physiotherapy table, the physio room is kind of doubles up as a psychologist's couch as well. So a lot of the time, you know, I can try and encourage players to open up and talk to me, and without sort of fear of that going any further. And what I can do is I can help find out if there's any trends or any sort of undercurrents of problem within the team environment, which I can then kind of you know, relay to the coach or, you know, the captain or whatever, but you know, on an anonymous basis. But you know, I've got to try and tell people that, look, yes, we didn't win, but look at the positives. You know, you didn't hurt yourself. That injury has now experienced some match exposure. You know, so I'm talking on an individual basis. So you know, so players, there's always a positive that comes out of a loss from an individual perspective, from my point of view. And I try and use that to motivate guys just to work that little bit harder. So, you know, the fact that a player hasn't sort of had a recurrence of a hamstring injury, for example, is a means for me to tap into their motivation to, listen, this has worked really, really well, but in order to keep this going, we've got to do X, Y, and Z. So I turn it around, and yes, you get sad, but you learn from the experience. You know, I look within intrinsically, and I think, you know, what could I have done better as a member of this team to try and change that for next time? You know, it's no good just sort of being sad, grabbing a beer, and then just packing your bag and going back. You've got to reflect on the performance, and if there is someone that you think that did something sort of which wasn't a positive move, I'm not talking about the cricketing skills, but in terms of their preparation, for example, you know, if they hadn't had enough sleep the day before, and then on that day they didn't perform very well, then you need to maybe just next time they're in the room, you know, bring that up in conversation. So learn from all those little bits and pieces which you've observed, and in your own way as a member of the support staff, try and tap into that and change behaviour for the better, so that the same thing doesn't repeat itself. I think they're the main things for me. Yeah, but basically move on quickly. Don't sort of dwell on the negatives. Move on, learn from it, and hopefully put up a better performance next time.
Well, that's nice to say that it's always there's a better way to do. That's good. Ashwini, I think we're getting a lot of questions. We can get into the questions.
Yeah, we have in excess of 140 questions from the audience. So if you could permit, we still had a couple of questions. So we'll try and get them online. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
And a lot of good wishes to both of you.
Jackie, can we go with the question? We have Aishwarya who is asking us a question.
Hi Andrew, my question is to you. It's so nice to hear about your experience, and you've truly been a support to our Indian team. So my question is, how is it different for you to train players on a national level and on a first class or club level?
To be honest, there shouldn't be a lot of gap between levels, because, you know, first class players are just national players that haven't been selected yet. So it's about reinforcing the fact that they are just one little step away from potential national selection. And if they're called up, they've got one opportunity to get up there and prove themselves. So, you know, I tap into that motivation that we talk about, you know, I've mentioned earlier today, and try and say, listen, you've got you've got the skills clearly to play at first class level. where else can you improve? You know, you have this physiological window of potential improvement, and you must tap into that and train that and narrow that window so that if you do get the call up, if you get that selection, then you're ready to go and hit the ground running. It's you know, in terms of skill-wise, that jump might not be so much, but physically, when a player gets an opportunity to exhibit their skills at a national level, they tend to give 110%. I know you can't get 110%, but they dig deep and find something they haven't had before, and often it bites them in the bum and they hurt themselves because they're working at a level or a workload that they haven't reached before. You know, their mind is so keen and motivated that they can actually injure themselves. So I think trying to tell them that, look, guys, you've got to be prepared. You never know when you're going to get called up, and tap into that. Oh shit, maybe Andrew's right. Maybe if I get called up, but I want to be fit and ready for that if it happens.
Thank you.
Next, we have Sandeep to Vijay Bharadwaj.
I think before Sandeep comes, you both have worked together, right, at the brief period of time? The both of you, yes? Yeah, at KKR.
No. When I came into the team, he was also making his debut for the Indian team.
Hello.
2000.
Oh,
99 and 2000. His first season was with us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Sandeep.
Hi, Vijay sir.
Sandeep, you're audible. You can ask the question.
My question is to Vijay sir. How did you feel the first time when you played with Indian jersey against South Africa?
Oh, that was my debut series, you're saying?
Yes, sir.
That was in the Four Nation LG Cup against South Africa. That was a great moment for us. So, in fact, we did well in the tournament. And anybody for that matter, making debut will be a great time. See, people will remember that. But for me, that was one of the most memorable moments of my career, being the man of the match and the man of the series. For the first time, anybody seeing me, someone looking like a mathematics professor coming onto a cricket ground was something new for them. So that was very exciting times. And I was made up for one-day cricket, say white ball cricket. So I loved playing against South Africa. I loved playing against Zimbabwe in the tournament. So it was pretty exciting. And anybody for that matter, I say, any first-class cricketer making his debut for the nation wearing the jersey and the cap will always be exciting. So you had great players in the team: Ajay Jadeja, Rahul, Vinky, Saurav Ganguly, Sunil Joshi, Devasis Mohanty, Sadagopan Ramesh. Brilliant team we had, and many of the newcomers were making their entry into the team. And I was also excited, sharp, that was.
Thank you, sir.
I think the next question is to Andrew from Samhita. A lot of questions actually have come to Vijay on the same topic, on how it felt to be having a dream debut of his life.
What is that?
A dream debut. A lot of people are asking. Yeah.
I only wish people should start and end also very well, not like me. People should be like Rahul Dravid, who played 100 test matches and not 3 test matches like me. So I only wish people go higher. So it's just all in the mind. So I've learned a lot of things. And as I said, if you look at my Twitter handle, no, it says only one thing: for Star Sports, otherwise a failed cricketer. So I wear that badge with some sort of a pride. I'm not even worried.
No, not at all. So we have Samhita was asking a question to Andrew.
Okay, so my question is on a slightly personal and fun note. So I have 2 questions for you. The first one is, have you ever dated an Indian girl? And also, which is your favorite Indian cuisine and city?
Is my wife on the Zoom webcast? I don't know. Yes, I have done the first thing. This is a long time ago now. I'll leave it at that. My favorite cuisine, I actually like South Indian. South Indian breakfast is probably my favorite. You know, my idli, my dosa. And then my son, I lived in Bangalore for a couple of years when I was at the National Cricket Academy, and he's now 5, but he grew up he was there from 10 months old, and he just wants idli dosa for breakfast every day. And he loves his spicy rice, his biryani. So I kind of prefer the South Indian cuisine more than anything else.
You are surely invited the next time around. You are here. Some really good home cooked food we'll make for you.
It'd be great. Look forward to it.
I think we have Shreyas next, who is asking us a question. I think, and the question is to Bharadwaj, Vijay Bharadwaj.
Hello, sir. I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you for interacting with us, sir. My question to you is, in the current era of the game, should the coaches actually tell the youngsters sort of to follow or idolize only one player? Say, for example, many youngsters want to be like Virat Kohli. Is very aggressive and also very vocal on the field, and also being glamorous. While maybe that is good, but the game also needs the likes of Dravids and Sachins who sort of redefine the gentleman's game. So how to convince the youngsters to be, retain their originality and also to be true to their game?
Oh, that's a very valid question. So you mean to say Virat Kohli is not a gentleman?
Maybe little vocal on the field, Dravid and Sachin did not.
No. You need people like Kohli, man. Sport is all about characters. You need every kind of a character here. See, Sachin is one character. Lara is another character. Gale, you need people like Gale. See, this sport only survives on emotions. It's not about winning or losing. It's about characters defining the sport. So you cannot always have people like Dravid. It is so boring. I played with him for 15 years. And I'm telling you, it is so boring with him. I know the result that he will get 100. I know the result. Someone is asking a question, the same similar one I would like to answer. Who would you like to go and watch in a stadium, Sachin or Lara? So to relate to that question, I feel I'm better off watching a Lara because he's so unpredictable. He's full of uncertainty. One day he scores brilliantly. He can score a 500. The next day he gets out with a flash. And he's so unpredictable. Life is all about most unpredictable things. So Sachin, when he goes into bat, I know he's going to get a 50 or 100. It is so boring. Normal is boring. Sport is, I feel you need to have all kinds of characters. So you cannot generalize and say, okay, act like a Kohli or probably go and do things which Dravid has done. No. It's all about you. You need, see, if someone goes and says, what do you want to become tomorrow? And I will never say I want to become a Kohli. I'll never say I want to become a Dravid. I'll say I want to become me. Because as I said, cricket needs character, sports need character. Unless and until you realize that, okay, you model yourself, no problem. You follow them. You learn from them, not an issue at all. But never ever go into the footsteps of one else. So otherwise, there is no charm in it. Where is that individuality? So there are role models, thousands and thousands of role models here, but at the same time, learn bit better things from them. At the same time, just go be yourself, express yourself. That's the best way to do it. Don't bother about what others are doing. That's what I said.
And you're truly original. I think we also have already the next question. Maybe I'm guessing it's for Andrew. Hi, Neha.
Hi, it's so lovely to have you both. I'm a die-hard fan. So a question is, success and failure are integral. So we see this in our profession a lot, and the same is with the sports. So how should we handle both?
Is that to me?
Yeah, Andrew. Go ahead, Andrew.
We're talking about life, aren't we? You know, it's life. You know, you can't continually win the whole time unless you're Dhoni, you know, because he's the man with the golden touch. I just think that at the end of the day, whatever we do professionally, it's our business. You know, I'm a physio. I don't get everybody back on the park as quickly as I would like to. Sometimes I keep people back further so that I don't risk either an early recurrence of an injury or poor performance. I have a set of methodologies and skills and experience that make me who I am. And people have to understand that, you know, for me to succeed, I have to stick with those protocols and my beliefs and knowledge. If I'm taken out of that comfort zone and someone changes that and there's failure, I try to mitigate that by, you know, informing everybody of my process. You know, so education, information, communication, they're the main things for me to try and help mitigate failure, so that everyone's on the same page. And I think once everyone understands my point of view, I try and make it as simple as possible. They come on board and they go with me. But even despite your checks and balances, you know, failure still occurs, and we've talked about it before. You just learn from that and go, okay, listen, it didn't work last time. I know that. Next time I see the same injury, I'm going to do it this way. And that's my take on that. But at the end of the day, it's my business, it's my profession. I don't want to fail. I want to win the whole time. And the more experience you get, the better you get at not failing, for want of a better term. Doesn't apply to cricket so much because you can still get out, you know, for a duck. But you still practice and try and mitigate that failure, you know, through practice.
I have a request that people also want Vijay Bharadwaj to answer the same question which Neha has asked.
It's a day-to-day life for us. In fact, cricketers see more failures. You know, the first advice when I came into the Karnataka team, you know, what was the advice? They said, you'll see more failures in first class cricket than the club cricket. So when I came into the India team also, it was the same thing. So if Rahul Dravid is averaging around 50, that means that he has failed around 50 times, a percentage I'm talking about. So it's not going to be the same if you don't experience failures, how will you experience success? You don't know the value of success unless and until you know failures. See, that's the best part. If I look back at my career, now I feel that I've done everything with my heart. So if I were to be successful almost all the time, no, then there was no spice, there's no charm. So to relate to your profession, I don't know how CA and other profession works. You don't see failures more often like us. Probably that comes once in a while. Maybe when you write an exam, when you take up the next level, or probably when you're dealing with claims. But here in our sport, there is failure every day. Dina sayor alavar yadu andange, you know what I mean? You can't cry for people who are dying every day. So that's how it is. So for us, failure has become a part of our life. We are not even perturbed. We are not even disturbed by that. But for a common man or for some other profession, no, it takes a little while. But you need to have that kind of an emotional understanding. You need to have that emotional control. Otherwise, there's no fun. Life is so beautiful. It's just not about failures. It's all about perception. So how do you perceive things is important. Failure is just an emotion. So you don't get attached to the emotion. It's a perception which makes you feel. So your character also defines how you're seeing things. Are you taking it in the right spirit? Are you looking at it in the right angle? That's what is important.
I think there is a quite popular adage in CA. It's like Jesus never fails, but ask him to take up CA exam. So
yeah.
Failure is a very common one.
Yeah, I understand. Correct.
We have next question by Pawan to Andrew. Go ahead, Pawan.
Hi. My question to a man with the magical hands, Mr. Andrew sir. Sir, how did you get into sports science and what made you to get into it?
That's really quite simple, actually. I was very good at biology at school. I got 100% in my matric. So it sort of flowed into what could I use biology with, because I also love sport. and there was a degree called Exercise and Sports Science, which was brand new in Australia at the time. I think I was the second or third lot of intake. This is going back in the 80s, late 80s, believe it or not, before most of you were born probably. So I just went naturally just into something which used my love of sort of nature and understanding of physiology and so forth, and my passion for sport. And then from there I went into physiotherapy and then masters in physiotherapy, and yeah, it just sort of fitted what I loved. So I followed what I loved. I didn't follow the engineering pathway or the architecture pathway like my brother. I just followed my passion.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you. And I think Andrew has a session which he has to go to. We'll quickly wrap it up in the next 10 minutes. So I don't know where it is echoing from. We'll have the next person come on line, which is Kiran. There's a bit of a gap because they're going to get him online. It's taking a little time.
Vijay sir, namaskara.
Namaskara.
Sir, ನನ್ನ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ನಿಮ್ ಆಡಿರೋ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ನೋಡಿದೆ. I watched every match of yours.
Yeah.
So one question is, ತುಂಬಾ ಸರಿ ಕೇಳ್ಪಟ್ಟೆ, ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಪಿಂಗ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾ ಇದ್ರು.
ಹೌದು
ಸರ್, ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂತು ಈ ಪದ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಬಂತು ಸರ್?
one match Goa ನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ ನಾವು. So we are just playing this game in Goa, where our Javagal Srinath came and just played that game. It was way back in 1993 when Anil was the captain. Okay. So that game we had to score a lot of runs, and in one particular ball I just played and then I was running 3 runs. So Srinath was so tense that he was shouting at me. He said, "Yarado pingana pengana le ora surige." That just came spontaneously from his mouth. You know, Pinga was a character, is a cartoon kind of a figure. When I came into the Karnataka team, ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ cartoon figure ತರ ಇದ್ದೆ ಅವಾಗ. So ಅದೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, and I was running very fast. I was the fastest in the Karnataka team. Probably maybe 1 or 2 guys would challenge me in a 100-meter sprint. So I was running so fast. They named me as an ostrich cartoon. That ostrich name was Pinga. And please don't go and search in the Google. That gives you a very odd feeling, that name Pinga. So don't do that. I'm telling you the fact as to what a cartoon figure that was. So that's how people used to call me Pinga and Pinga. So it's a slang which has been given to me in the Karnataka dressing room, and that carried on.
Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure talking to you, sir. Thank you.
Incidentally, Kiran is our Dean of Sports in office, one of the very motivated cricketers we have. And the next one too is a cricket enthusiast. We have Ganesh who is asking a question. Ganesh.
Hello. Hi. My question is to Mr. Andrew. Andrew, it's been a privilege to speak with the person who redefined fitness in our Indian cricket team. So my question to him is, so when there is a match, how do you prepare and train the players the day before the match?
Yeah, good question. It depends on the match, whether it's IPL, whether it's a test match, whether it's an ODI. But generally the day before the game is a preparation phase. So we have recovery, we have preparation, we have match, and it goes around in cycles, you know, depending on what tournament we're in at the time. But it's about preparing, and it's giving players whatever they need to get themselves physically and mentally prepared to perform the next day. So they could still be recovering from a previous day's travel. So if you know, in IPL, the matches are played almost back to back. So you've got to basically recover those players physically and mentally. So it might be the player just needs sleep. Okay, and we know that sleep is a very, very important factor in physiological and physical recovery and mental recovery. That's the number one thing. So it's very individual. It could be sleep, it could just be diet, it could be massage, it could be practice. So if a player is not finding his form. He might just want to go to the net and hit balls. You know? So we take it on a case-by-case basis. Generally, the coach is on board with that. Generally, the coach understands that it's, you know, the days of bad boy practice. If you've lost the last game, the days of bad boy practice are gone, and the coach tries to tap into each player's unique demands and requests, and to try to get the best out of them. So it's a very, very unique preparation before the day before a match. I can't say there's no generic structure, at least not nowadays anyway. It's very, very personalized. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
The next
very
question
difficult to get Hardik Pandya sleep.
The next question is from Lokesh to Vijay Bharadwaj.
Vijay sir, namaskara. It's like sports is more engaging, enjoyable and thrilling when it is watched in language one speaks. Can you please share your experience of commenting in Kannada?
Oh, wonderful. See, that Kannada commentary has given me second lease of life, Antandra. It makes sense. In fact, I love most talking to people in Kannada, and English doesn't come to me naturally. So we are a Nivedita Vijay school password, Vijay college password. So you understand. As I said, Kannada commentary has gone way ahead now. It's got an audience of about 3.5 crore. The TRP, it's captured about 7% market of world commentary. So you can imagine how local language is growing up. So we are really excited because we have a wonderful panel. We have Venkatesh Prasad, we had Sunil Joshi, we have Chipli, Akhil, everybody who's played cricket. So our commentary panel is all about cricketers. So there are no non-cricketers. So we enjoy a lot. At the same time, we try to explain in our colloquial language. LBW andre enu anta eshton janake gottailla. I can give an instance of one 75-year-old lady coming to me and saying, now I can understand what is LBW. Now I can understand what is no ball. So that gives me a lot of satisfaction. So people who watch us, they keep saying that your Kannada flow is so good. You can talk cricket in Kannada. But that has taken a lot of training. It doesn't come to us so easily. So when you think of the numbers, IPL numbers is going around some 3.34 crore viewers. So imagine the kind of pressure will be. Not even a single word you can hear. ಒಂದು ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾತಾಡೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಮೇಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಒಂದು ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ, ಹಿಂಗಂದ್ರು ಹಂಗಂದ್ರು ಅಂತ. So when you pick up the mic, it's more challenging nowadays. I would have played my game much easier, but speaking in front of everybody and looking at the numbers, it is so challenging. But now I've got used to it. I hardly spoke when I played. So people used to call me Muga. Now look at this. It's the irony of life. I have to do something which I've never done before.
Super, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think that was fun. We have one more guest who's been asking us to, from that time, to talk to Vijay, but we'll probably let Andrew sign off. And Andrew, any closing remarks for us?
Yeah, sorry everyone. I'd love to stay and chat. I'm having a lot of fun. I've got clients coming. It's still afternoon here, so I've took an hour off in between clients to chat. But they're going to be knocking at my door very, very soon. So I've got to prepare for that. But listen, it's been lovely chatting. Some very, very interesting questions. I didn't know Vijay was so philosophical. I think you should go from commentator to guru, mate. Honestly, because you're full of fantastic advice.
Thanks, Andrew. It was great meeting you, actually, in fact.
Hey, sorry, mate?
It was nice to see you after such a long time. So
yeah, it's been too long. Hopefully IPL goes ahead this year, if they can find a window, and I'll be back. So, but I'll be back with Kings 11.
Gumbals.
That's great news. Thank you, Andrew. Bye. We'll hold Vijay for 2 more minutes. Bye, Andrew.
Thank you, guys.
See you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I think most fun has been to hear the banter between the both of you. The next person, Janki, we have him. He had a parallel call, but he wanted to make sure that he is going to talk to you. No problem. Sir, LP sir, you are online. You can talk. We can't get it.
Is there no?
LP sir, I think you're on mute. If you can just unmute yourself. Must be we are having connectivity issues. Okay, let's go with it, sir. Vijay sir, some closing remarks from your end. We couldn't probably have him for whatever reasons.
Oh, it was very nice talking to you all. I was just wondering what to speak to these intellectuals. People coming from a CA background, will they listen to me or not? That was a doubt I had. So I guess that was a very, very good interactive session. And I feel Andrew also was very light in his words. So I'm sure that you would have enjoyed. There's a lot to talk about sport, and if you can follow the sport and encourage your kids to play some sport, that will be great. Sport can give you so much fun. At the same time, the sport can be a great leveler also. It teaches you what life is all about. So pick up any sport, watch any sport, watch sporting documentary like which is the latest one is The Last Dance about Michael Jordan, which is going on. It can teach you 100 lot of things. So it's the best way to keep yourself engaged.
Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.